All right, let's talk about something really important. We're going to get into the nitty-gritty of why your positive thinking sometimes feels like it's just not working. And we're not going to talk about trying harder. Nope. We're going to talk about finding a specific mechanical glitch inside your own operating system and exactly how to fix it. You know the feeling, right? You start your day with perfect affirmations, you're on a strict mental diet, but before you know it, those intrusive negative thoughts just creep back in. And it feels like you're in this constant, exhausting, and losing battle with yourself. Look, if that sounds familiar, I need you to hear this. You're not alone, and it's not a personal failing. And this quote, this right here is the whole key. The frustration you're feeling, it has nothing to do with your willpower. It's a mechanical problem. And you know what the best part about a mechanical problem is? It has a mechanical solution. So how are we going to do this? Simple. Here's our game plan. First, we're going to identify what I call the sabotage signal. Then we'll figure out how to diagnose it in your own mind, kind of like finding the source of a weird radio static. And finally, I'm going to give you 3 incredibly powerful tools to rewrite that code for good. So why does this happen in the first place? Well, the law of assumption doesn't work on effort. It works on dominance. It's all about which signal is the loudest, the most consistent one playing in your head. And this is what we call your dominant mental state.
Think of it like this. Your desire, your affirmation, is like a 5-minute song you try to play on the radio. But what if your deep-seated belief system is a 24-hour radio station that's just broadcasting static and doubt, all day, all night in the background? Which signal do you think is going to win? Yeah, the radio station every single time. So the goal isn't to play your little song louder. The goal is to change the entire state.
Okay, so how do we find the source of that static? How do we figure out what that darn radio station is even broadcasting? Well, this brings us to the diagnostic phase. And here's the cool part. Those persistent negative thoughts, they aren't the real problem. They're actually clues. They're useful signals pointing us toward the actual source. So the key here is we don't fight the thoughts, we follow them. They're just the symptoms of a much deeper limiting belief. This belief is like the hidden source code that keeps generating the same negative junk day in and day out. If we want to fix the glitch, we have to find that code. And I have a brilliantly simple tool for you to find that exact line of code. It's called the Of Course test, and it's designed to cut right through all that mental noise and expose the one core belief that's holding you back. It's honestly a game changer. So I want you to ask yourself this question, and you gotta be brutally honest. Of course, the thing I want won't happen because. And whatever you say after the word because, that's it. That's the mechanical block. That's your limiting belief. Maybe it's because I'm not good enough, or because I always mess things up, or because I'm just not worthy of love. That's the radio station we need to change. Okay, so now that we found the problem, let's get into the toolkit. Our first tool is a super simple but incredibly powerful technique you can use literally right now to immediately shift your entire energetic frequency. You see, the universe is basically a giant mirror. So when you focus on what you don't have, on lack, it just reflects more lack right back at you. It's like you're handcuffed to that negative energy. But the moment you consciously shift your focus to what you do have, to gratitude, you completely change the signal you're sending out. And then the mirror has no choice but to start reflecting back more things for you to be grateful for. This quote just perfectly captures that shift, doesn't it? It's not about pretending your problems don't exist. It's about a massive paradigm shift in your perspective. And that kind of shift can instantly catapult you from a state of lack into a state of gratitude. And that, my friends, is where all the magic happens. All right, tool number 2 is a bit more systematic. Once you've used that Of Course test to identify your core limiting belief, you don't have to just live with it. You can actively go in there and rewrite it with a brand new, empowering one. And here's a simple 4-step process to do it. First, you identify the belief, right? Let's say it's, I suck at making money. Second, you reframe it to its direct opposite. Money flows to me easily and effortlessly. Third, you reinforce it. You read that new belief every single morning and every single night. And fourth, you attach a quick 5-second visualization to it. Maybe you imagine someone congratulating you on your success. That's it. This process literally installs a new baseline belief into your subconscious. Now for our final tool. This one is the most advanced, and it's like performing surgery to remove the belief right at its root. It's a technique called revision, and it involves going back in your imagination to the very moment that belief was created and changing the memory. So I want you to ask yourself, when did I decide this was true about me? Try to trace that limiting belief all the way back to a specific event. Maybe it was something a teacher said to you as a kid,
a painful breakup, a comment from a boss at your first job. Find that scene.
This is where Neville Goddard's incredibly powerful revision technique comes in. You don't just ignore the bad memory, you go in and rewrite it. In your imagination, you construct and replay a new version of what happened. Instead of your boss criticizing you, he praises you. You replay this new, empowering memory over and over and over again until your subconscious mind accepts it as what actually happened.
And when you change that root memory, you literally pull the plug on the old programming. The entire belief structure that was built on top of that memory, it just crumbles. That old radio station of self-sabotage loses its power source because in your mind, the event that created it never even happened that way.
And that right there is the ultimate takeaway from all of this. See, true manifestation isn't about chasing after fleeting thoughts or just wanting things really hard. It's about fundamentally changing your dominant state of being. It's about changing who you are, what you deeply believe, and what you assume to be true about yourself and your world.
So I'll leave you with this question. Using the tools we just talked about, what is the one radio station of self-sabotage that you are going to decide to change the channel on, starting right now?